My name is Margaret Collins. I'm 82 years old, and yes, I'm still a waitress. Margaret always introduced herself that way, with a soft smile and a quiet dignity that made people pause. She worked at a small family-owned diner called Sunrise Diner, tucked between a hardware store and an old bookstore in Columbus. The red neon sign outside flickered at night, and the bell above the door chimed every time a customer walked in. Most people assumed Margaret worked because she had to. They were wrong. Every morning at 5 a.m., Margaret tied her gray hair into a neat bun, pinned her name tag to her blue uniform, and walked the 3 blocks from her small apartment to the diner. Her steps were slow but steady. She refused to use a cane. The younger waitresses often told her, "Margaret, you don't need to do this anymore. You should be resting." She would laugh gently. "Resting is for people who feel finished," she'd reply. "I'm not finished yet." Customers loved her. She remembered names, favorite orders, and even birthdays. She knew that Mr. Thompson liked extra butter on his pancakes and that Sarah, the college student, preferred her coffee black with 1 sugar, but no one knew the real reason she was still working. Margaret wasn't always a waitress. In 1962, she had graduated from nursing school with dreams of working in big hospitals. She married her high school sweetheart, Daniel, a factory worker with strong hands and a softer heart. They had 1 son, Michael. Life was simple but beautiful: Sunday church, summer picnics, and family dinners. But when Michael turned 8, doctors discovered he had a rare heart condition. The treatments were expensive. Insurance didn't cover everything. Margaret left her nursing career to care for her son full-time. Daniel worked double shifts. Margaret picked up part-time jobs, cleaning houses, babysitting, and eventually waitressing. They sold their car. They refinanced their home, but they never complained. Michael survived longer than doctors predicted. He grew into a gentle, intelligent young man who dreamed of becoming a teacher. Then, at 21, his heart gave out. Margaret was 43 years old when she buried her only child. Daniel never fully recovered from the loss. He passed away 8 years later. By 51, Margaret was alone. Many people would have retired by 60. Margaret started over. She applied for a waitress position at Sunrise Diner. The owner hesitated at first. "Are you sure you can handle the long hours?" he asked. Margaret smiled. "I've handled worse." She worked tirelessly, not because she needed luxury, but because she needed purpose. Over the years, regular customers became like family. They brought her Christmas cookies. They hugged her on her birthday. They asked about her health, but there was something else Margaret did every single payday. Something no one knew. Every Friday afternoon, after finishing her shift, Margaret would stop by the bank. She would deposit most of her paycheck into a separate savings account. Not for herself, not for retirement. Not for medical bills. For 22 years, Margaret quietly saved her tips and extra wages. Then one day, something happened that revealed her secret to the world. A young single mother named Emily began working at the diner as a dishwasher. She was 19, exhausted, and struggling to support her baby daughter. She dreamed of going to nursing school but couldn't afford tuition. Margaret saw herself in Emily. One evening, after closing time, Margaret handed Emily an envelope. Inside was a check. $18000. Emily stared at her in disbelief. "I can't accept this," she whispered. Margaret gently closed her hand over Emily's trembling fingers. "Yes, you can," she said. "It's not charity. It's an investment." Emily cried. So did the kitchen staff who overheard. But Margaret's generosity didn't stop there. A week later, the diner owner discovered the truth. Margaret had created a small private scholarship fund. Over 2 decades, she had quietly helped 9 single mothers enroll in college. 3 high school seniors pay application fees. 2 former employees escape abusive situations. Countless families afford emergency groceries. She never told anyone her name. She would simply leave envelopes labeled, "From someone who believes in you." When the diner owner asked her why she never took credit, she replied, "Because it's not about me. It's about giving someone a future." The story might have stayed hidden if Emily hadn't posted about it online. Emily shared a photo of Margaret holding a coffee pot, smiling shyly at the camera. She wrote about the envelope. About the 82-year-old waitress who had worked for decades to fund other people's dreams. Within days, the post spread across social media. Local news stations in Columbus picked it up. Then national media followed. People were stunned. Why is she still working at 82? How could she save that much on a waitress salary? Why didn't she tell anyone? When reporters asked Margaret for an interview, she hesitated. "I don't want fame," she said softly. "I just wanted to help." But eventually, she agreed, on one condition: the attention should encourage others to give. After the story aired, something extraordinary happened. Donations began pouring in, not to Margaret, but to the scholarship fund she created. Former customers sent $20. Strangers sent $5,000. A retired businessman donated $100,000 after hearing her story on the radio. Within 3 months, the small private fund that Margaret had built alone grew to over $1 million. The diner hosted a small celebration. Margaret stood in front of balloons and cameras, looking overwhelmed. "I only saved what I could," she told the crowd. "A little each week. That's all it takes. A little, consistently." The applause lasted nearly 5 minutes. The journalist finally asked the question everyone was thinking, "Margaret, why didn't you just retire and enjoy life?" She smiled the same gentle smile she'd worn for decades. "Who says I wasn't enjoying it?" She explained that serving coffee wasn't a burden. It was connection. It was purpose. It was how she met people who needed help. "If I had retired at 65, she said, none of those mothers would have gone to school. None of those kids would have gotten their chance." Her secret wasn't just the money. It was her belief that small acts, repeated daily, can change the world. At 83, Margaret reduced her shifts to 3 days a week. The scholarship fund was officially renamed in her honor, the Margaret Collins Future Forward Fund. Emily completed nursing school and now works at a local hospital. She visits Margaret every Sunday with her daughter, who calls her Grandma Maggie. When asked what she wants people to remember about her, Margaret says, "Don't wait to be rich to be generous. Don't wait to be young to start something new. And don't wait for applause to do what's right." Margaret Collins wasn't famous. She didn't invent anything. She didn't hold political office or build a corporation. She simply served pancakes, poured coffee, and saved a little at a time. And in doing so, she touched millions. Because sometimes, the greatest secrets aren't hidden in vaults or headlines. They hide behind an apron, smiling softly, asking,